state of Washington tax retirees, you're asking? Well, let's find out. We're going to look at the state of Washington and the way they tax their retirees here at the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. Thanks again for coming, my friends. Like always, the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel is the place you come if you want to learn about taxation and retirement in each of the 50 states, as well as the federal taxation on Social Security, Medicare premiums that you pay, and all things financial planning related. So if you like what you see here, subscribe right there. That little button down there that says subscribe, very inconspicuous, but I'm telling you, it's right there, that little red button. And then hit the bell that says notification to be notified of our future content. So let's dive right into the great state of Washington. Now, remember, wasn't that long ago that Bill Gates Sr. and a couple other folks proposed to have Washington give a state income tax, because right now Washington is one of 7 states with no income tax, and it failed. And it failed actually quite large, as a matter of fact, too. It was the numbers in the ballot initiative. So I don't think well, who knows? But it's hard to imagine that coming back anytime soon for the state of Washington in terms of trying to get a ballot initiative to raise the state income tax. I'm just telling you, folks, if their state proposes a state income tax, you better vote it down, because Connecticut is the shining example of what happens when you finally get one passed. It doesn't just stop for the rich people. It goes everywhere. So just be careful. Now, that does not mean they don't have high sales or high property tax. We're going to find that out. But as we sit here today, Washington is a tax favorable, not most tax friendly, but the second highest quintile for tax favorability as tax friendly. So let's see what Kiplinger's has to say about the state of Washington and their tax favorability. We know there's no state income tax, so that's good. The Evergreen, 7 states. The Evergreen state is one of the 7 with no personal income tax. Therefore, retirees don't have to worry about paying taxes on their pensions, Social Security, and other benefits. However, combined state and local sales tax rates are some of the highest in the nation. You should not be shocked by that. No income tax. They're going to get you someplace else at about up to 9%. The state offers some property tax relief programs. The state sales tax is 6% state levy. Municipalities can add another 3.5 or 4% to that, with an average combined rate of almost 9%, as they said. No state income tax. I mean, Social Security isn't taxed, IRAs aren't taxed, and whatnot. The median home value in Washington is about $266, and the median tax on that is about $2,800. It puts their median property tax, or the property tax rate, right a little bit more than 1%, which is actually not that high. I'm actually surprised by that. I thought the property taxes might be higher. But anyway, tax breaks for seniors. Let's see if they have a homestead exemption of some sort. They have 4 property tax relief programs available for homeowners who meet the requirements. Let's see what the requirements are. Oh man, look at these. The property tax exemption program is available to people 61 or older. The property must be owner occupied, and the homeowner income must be $40,000 or less. Now, it doesn't say if that's gross or taxable. So as we always say, if it's gross, you take your $40,000, you subtract your $26,600 for your standard deduction. If you're over 65, if you're under 65, it's $24,000. If you're married, and that is your taxable income. So we're talking taxable income in this case, but what's that? $13,000. If it's taxable at $40,000, then we're talking gross income of $66,600. So this is a big deal. It really depends if that's gross or taxable income for the $40,000 threshold. For qualified applicants, the home is exempt from all voter-approved excess and special levies. In addition, if the income is less than $35,000, a portion of the regular property tax amount may be exempt. It's okay. When the homeowner income is between $30,000 and $35,000, the exemption also applies to regular levies on the first $50,000 of the assessed value, or 35% of it, whichever is greater, but not more than $70,000 of the assessed. So if your income is pretty low, which it can be if you do Roth IRAs, you can get pretty good, decent exemption on $70,000 of the assessed value. So that's good. Seniors 60 or older or disabled persons have income $45,000 or less may qualify for the state's tax deferral program. And there's 5% interest. And that's like all these other states too. They allow you to kick the tax lien down the road, and it is a lien. They're going to put a lien on your property until you pay them off. And, but they're going to charge you 5% a year on those deferred taxes. All right. So it's like a bond essentially, where you don't have to pay a monthly or an annual or a quarterly or a semi-annual payment coupon essentially, but at the end of the day, you're going to owe them taxes plus the interest at 5%. So I'm not a big fan of that at all, because it must be repaid once the homeowner sells a home or moves. Property tax deferral. Again, I don't like deferrals. I like exemptions with limited income. And again, I'm not even going to hit on that because I don't like the deferrals. The state also has property tax assistance program for spouses of deceased veterans. The survivor must be 62 or older and have income of 40,000 or less. All right. So not much in the way of property homestead exemptions there in the great state of Washington. Not much at all. Now, again, if you're smart with your income planning, you might be able to qualify for some of the first exemption we discussed, up to $75,000. That's fantastic. But this other stuff, I think it'd be hard to apply for, be applicable to you. Vehicle purchases, a 0.3% motor vehicle sales tax is charged on top of sales tax due at the rate of the purchaser's residence. That doesn't make any sense. For vehicle purchases, a 0.3% motor vehicle sales tax is charged on top of sales tax due at the rate of the purchaser's residence. I guess they're saying whatever county you live, they'll charge that plus a 0.3% motor vehicle sales tax. Okay. Inheritance, an estate tax is imposed on estates exceeding $2.12 million. Rates range from 10% to 20%, and the Washington offers an additional $2.5 million deduction for family-owned businesses valued at less than $6 million. So there is no inheritance tax, but again, as I say all the time, your estate includes everything you own. And my friends, if you die with life insurance that you own, that is in your estate. So it doesn't take much to have a rather large life insurance policy plus a 401k and a home value to get that $2.129 million to be hit with estate tax. It just doesn't. And then if you do, it's 10% to 20%. So we're going to talk in a different playlist about that more specifically. But all right, let's see what Tax Foundation says about the great state of Washington. Estate tax is bad. Sales tax looks pretty high, and then property tax seems rather reasonable, frankly. So I could see why it'd be tax friendly. State and local tax burden is 9.3 according to the Tax Foundation, with Tax Freedom Day being a low April 27th, which puts them ranked number 40 all in all. So that's not good, even though it has no state income tax. So sales tax, let's see what we got here. Yeah, it ranks fourth in the nation for overall sales tax at 9.18. Combined local and state sales tax. So high sales tax, not shocking. It tax you hard if you smoke cigarettes and big time on gas. So if you commute in Washington, you're going to pay for it. There's just no getting around that. Property taxes, 0.96, which is smack dab in the middle of the U.S. And same with the actual dollar amount that they collect on property taxes as well. So let me get that pop-up off. Okay on property taxes. Hard on sales tax, definitely hard on gas tax. I guess they want you to buy an electric vehicle. Okay, that's their prerogative. And then low on individual income tax because there isn't any. So at the end of the day, we don't even need to go smartasset.com because they have no state income tax. But I do want to see if Smart Asset says anything about, let's see where Washington comes in here. See Washington. Washington. I want to see if they say anything about the property tax stuff. Yeah, come on, man. There we go. Washington right there. All right. All right. We're going to let me do this or what? No, I can't click. There we go. All right. Let's see what Smart Asset says about the property tax in the state of Washington. Because there's no income tax, I'm not going to play with a calculator on how much you have to pay. But I do want to show. Yeah, Evergreen. Okay, we're having a problem with our Wi-Fi, it appears. Am I still here? There we go. All right. That was weird. So the Evergreen, man, I'm having a hard time here. All right. Property taxes are slightly higher than the national average. The effective rate is 1.06 in Washington. While housing in Washington is generally affordable, in some parts of the state is very expensive, obviously in Seattle, which is King County. The property is what I want to look at. Many senior citizens in Washington state are eligible for a program that reduces their property tax. Okay, so they say many. I was surprised by that. To qualify for the property tax exemption, you must be at least 61 years old and unable to work because of disability, or a veteran who is receiving disability compensation. You must own and live in your home. Lastly, your household income must be $40,000 or less. Oh, if you meet each of those criteria, you'll qualify for the exemption. Okay, well, that doesn't come across as many senior citizens. Second, if your home is less than 35, income is less than 35,000, some portion of your home value will be exempt up to a maximum of 70,000 bucks. The exact amount of the exemption depends on your income and your home value. Okay, so that's more like it. But again, having an income, again, I don't know if that's gross or taxable. High sales tax, like we talked about, does not have an income tax, relies more heavy on the sales tax. Yeah. Sales tax exemption in Washington should help seniors, retirees overall the overall burden of the state sales tax. Prescription drugs and groceries are exempt. Okay, there you go. So that's good. So prescription drugs and groceries are exempt. So that helps a lot, quite a bit actually. So and then we talked about the estate tax with the rates as high as 20%. So that's a big deal. The amount is subtracted from the gross estate to calculate the taxable estate. So no taxes will be owed on an estate with a value below the exclusion. Above the exclusion, it kicks in at 10%. We're going to crunch some numbers on that in a different one. I am interested in the estate tax in various states. So, all right, my friends, well, that's it for the state of Washington. I would say moderately favorable, I do believe. Property tax are moderate for sure. The average home, the median price of the home is quite high. Just the West Coast, everything's expensive out there. So you're going to pay more for even though you're paying a property tax rate that's not very high, you're actually going to pay more just because the property values are higher. Income tax is non-existent. So that's wonderful. Sales tax, but they don't tax groceries. That's a big deal. So that's pretty good. So overall, not bad. I'm surprised by that. Just keep your eyes on the income tax. They always talk about getting that at some point. And I'm just telling you, just be careful because they'll say, we're going to get you the income tax, reduce your property taxes. Next thing you know, you have an income tax and your property taxes are high as well. We've seen it. So again, don't forget to subscribe down below there, my friends. If you like what we're doing here, a thumbs up, always helpful for sure. Comments down below. If you have boots on the ground, I'd love to hear what you're going through in the state of Washington. Don't forget to put them down below. And then like we talked about, get the blog at heritagewealthplanning.com, heritagewealthplanning.com. And we'll see you next time on the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. Thanks, guys.